Welcome to Debbie's Glow, where we talk about issues that matter to the state, void of politics, fear, or favor. Mahama Ayariga, the majority leader and leader of government business in parliament, has stated that he will not allow himself to be provoked into making comment on the Bawku chieftaincy dispute. Mr. Ayariga, also the member of parliament for Bawku Central, said he had deliberately refrained from commenting on the matter to avoid escalating tensions, while the mediation team led by Otumfuo Saitutu II was working with key stakeholders to resolve the matter. At the closing ceremony of the third meeting of this first session of the 9th Parliament, Mr. Ayariga stressed that his silence was a conscious effort to protect peace in the area. He explained that he had stayed away from his constituency for good reasons, noting that remarks made in haste could inflame passions and worsen the situation. Mr. Ayariga threatened and retreated his commitment to ensuring that parliamentary business remained focused on national development, while sensitive local issues were handled through appropriate mediation channels. Otumfuo Saitutu II mediation teams on the Bawku chieftaincy conflict reaffirmed Asigri Abukrago Azoka II as a legitimate Bawku Naba. The mediation team recommended that rival chief Seidu Abagri has recalled to Nalerigu for another traditional role and urged the government's support to enforce peace. However, the Mamprugu overlord rejected the report, while the Ghanaian government officially accepted it as a roadmap for reconciliation. So the conflict in Bawku has been existent for some time now, for a number of years. And this has really caused havoc to the community. It has really caused distraction in that community. No one wants to go to Bawku assistance now. No government official wants to go there. Because trust me, if you post me in Bawku, I'm not sure. I'm being sincere here. I'm not sure I'll go. Because a community where you don't have peace, a community where you cannot sleep and relax, a community where today there is chaos, the next day there is chaos, you don't even have time to do whatever you want to do. Basically, you're under curfew every time, and then you are given a time to sleep and a time to wake up. Trust me, which investor would like to go to Bawku to invest or come up with a business and help these people? And you see, all these basic things retard growth in that community. It delays development. Now, I've heard calls coming in that majority leader, you are the member of parliament in Bawku. What's happening? We are not hearing of you. You are basically saying nothing. But you're a member of parliament in Bawku. What is going on? He's saying that he's refraining from saying things that will escalate the issue. Now, I understand the fact that everyone is calling on Mahama Ayariga to speak, to say something. As a member of parliament, you're supposed to talk. You're supposed to say something. What is going on in Bawku? What measures are you putting in place for this conflict? To tame down the conflict. Because day in and day out, we've seen people losing their lives. We see people, victims that could not survive the heat of the conflict. And then it looks as if the member of parliament representing the people of Bawku is silent. You are not talking. And it looks as if every day he comes out to talk is something that does not involve Bawku and national progress. Yes, it's good. You are supposed to talk about the national development of the country, but what about Bawku? Are you thinking about them? Are you thinking about the people? Are you working behind the scene and we are not seeing it? And he's saying that, well, you are throwing a lot of questions at me, but this is it. I cannot speak because when I don't want to say anything that will escalate this issue. Now, as a member of parliament, the concern of the people needs to be your concern. The interest of the people needs to be your interest. Well, you might be working behind the scene and then we are not seeing it. We may not see it, but maybe you are doing something. But even if it is behind the scene, the people in your constituents should be saying it. I've come across a video where people from Bawku were complaining that their member of parliament is silent. And I remember last year when the conflict became so tense, I think they set his house ablaze, sort of, and then he has to run out of Bawku. And then I've seen instances where some residents of Bawku are complaining that they are not hearing from their member of parliament. Yes, we might be working behind the scene, but at least if you don't want us to know, the people in Bawku should know that this is what you are doing. This is basically what you are doing. What we are pleading for is peace. Because the Asante has taken this upon himself. And then a mediation between the Kusausi and then the Mamprusi. And then the Asante ensured that he ensure to promote peace and then reconcile these two groups. And after that, in fact, let me say, everyone was expecting a positive result, and I will literally say that after the mediation between Asante and then the Kusausi and the Mamprusi, in a way we saw calm after the Asante stepped into the issue. We're not hearing too much about Bawku. But then after the result was presented to the president on Friday, I saw a video where a house of one of the ethnic groups was set ablaze. And these youth were saying that that man actually bribed the Asante to declare one person as the sole leader of Bawku. You see, I think it's about time we, the citizens, need to reason. If someone is paying you to do that, sit down and think through it. Is it going to help you? Do you feel happy when there is chaos? Do you feel happy? Is your soul at peace when there is chaos? When you cannot even think straight? You are being pressured to sleep at 6 and then you need to do so. You are being pressured to wake up at 6 and go back to bed at 6 or go back to bed at 4. No progress. Schools are halted. Business are not going on well. In fact, businesses are collapsing. And all these things are not signaling, are not giving you a signal that is a negative, it's having a negative impact on the community. Conflict does not bring out a positive result. Conflict will bring out a negative result. That is what it does. Conflict does not promote development. It promotes division. It promotes deaths. That is what it does. So even if the leaders are refusing to think, what of the youth? You should reason enough to tell these people that where it has gotten to a year. Because you are basically seeing nothing. But no, you see this youth, and then the number of youths I saw in the house in that video, it was something else. I was asking myself, those people, do they even sit down to think about all these things? Other communities are thinking of how to develop the community, of how to make the community more attractive. People have been posted, teachers and nurses have been posted to other communities, and they don't want to go. All these things are factors that contribute to that. How do you expect that community to grow? How do you expect it to grow? I know this has been an issue that has been in existence for so long, but it can be stopped. And that is if we put away our differences and then focus on the development of the community and the well-being of the people. And as I said, conflict doesn't bring a positive result. Conflicts always bring negative outcomes. I don't know whether you are happy if they slash your head with a knife, or you're happy if they shoot you, they set your house ablaze, you keep running and seeking for refuge. Even if politicians are behind that, which allegedly, some time ago I heard something like that politicians are behind that, providing these people with weapons and that. But sometimes I sit down to think about certain things and I don't get a clear answer to that. Where do you even get money to buy AK-47? All those bombs that they use in destroying things, where do they get that money from? This ethnic conflict is costing us a lot. And if Bawku is affected today, if Bawku becomes worse, it's going to affect the whole country. Bawku is part of Ghana. Bawku is not a country on its own. And the government is trying their possible best. This whole issue has to be a collective responsibility. The government is trying their best to solve it. You to help the government. At least help yourself, help your community. So that you don't have to be traveling out of the community back to Accra or other places. You're not going to start life. Well, you have your house and everything in Bawku, but you can't sleep because there is no peace. So I think it's about time the youth sit down and then you reason. Think through it. For the number of years this conflict has existed, what benefit has it brought to Bawku? Think about it. If it has brought a positive result, then continue. But if you feel like it hasn't brought a positive outcome, it has rather brought chaos and a lot of innocent souls have died out of this conflict, then I think you should sit down and then put things in order. If Bawku becomes attractive right now, the residents will enjoy more. If there is work, investors having the interest to establish new businesses in Bawku, residents will enjoy 50% of it. Why? Because you will be employed. You wouldn't have to travel from Bawku all the way from Bawku to Volta region to other places just to get employed or to get something doing. So to the youth of Bawku, please sit down, reason, think about it, think through it. Conflict doesn't bring anything good. It destroys. That is what it does. It destroys. And I believe the youth can bring a stop to this. If you reason through it and then you come to a realization that you are one people. You might speak different dialects, but you are one people living in one community under one roof. If you think through it, because even it says that together we stand, divided we fall. If you are together, bind together, I'm not sure, not even a politician can intrude and poison your thoughts or influence you to escalate the issue. Because these are the basic stuffs that terrorists and these jihadis and people take advantage over it. And then you see them all over, killing people. That is what we are trying to prevent. It will be sad if next year we will still sit here and talk about this Bawku issue. Please, we want peace to reign. Because Bawku is part of Ghana. If today Bawku is stable, Ghana is stable. If Bawku is in chaos, Ghana is in chaos. And to the member of parliament, please, your constituent says they want to see you doing something. We know that whether you belong to Kusasi or Mampusi, if you don't know how to arrange your thoughts, you might end up offending one ethnic group, and that might escalate the issue. But at least let your constituents feel that you are doing something, you're putting measures in place, you're working behind the scene. You don't want us to see, but your constituents needs to see it, so that when there is an issue one day, they will back you that yes, you tried and you did your best. And to cut long story short, it is peace we want. Thank you for making time with me on Daily School.